Grass and hay.
Boy, right off the bat. Right off the light, you know. I'm really getting a lot of that. And this is an expensive cigar, and they still taste like crap when you first light them up. I'm sorry. I've yet to have a cigar where it's like, damn, that's good right off the light up. Not once.
All right.
Cameraman Wes.
Yeah.
It's been a hot and muggy day today.
It has. I think it was hotter yesterday, but today's just been. I think there hasn't been a breeze. It's just hot.
Just the humidity, the mugginess has just been horrible. So this was kind of a welcome to be able to jump in the shower and kind of clean up. I know my hair's still soaking wet, but probably looks all ratty and such, but that's all right. We're gonna let this one go out all white trashy and such.
That's right. We're not churching it up here.
No, we are not, dirty.
Heck, I worked 10 hours and didn't even take a shower. Just came over here.
Yeah. I didn't work 10 hours and I did take a shower. All right, Wes, we are here. Oh, where are we at? We're in the beginning of June now, aren't we?
We are. Already. Year's half over.
Almost.
Well, almost half over.
Almost half. That's that's crazy to think.
Right.
You realize by the end of this month, the days will start getting shorter. By the end of this month. It's nuts.
My wife will get sad again.
As will mine. All right, man. I want to say this right here, and I'm going to ask you this question.
Yeah.
But I'm going to answer my answer first. Didn't realize I made a spectacle of myself right here on the podcast, right? I'm always curious when do you prefer to light up a cigar? If you had the perfect day going on, when would you light that cigar up? Are you like some people are a morning, they like a cigar with their coffee. Some people, during the day. Some people it's late at night. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I smoke them all different times. Very rarely do I smoke one in the morning. I'm just not a morning smoker.
Right.
But for me, middle of the afternoon, like it is right now. I guess it's late afternoon now, but it's if you're my age, it's late afternoon. If for your age, it's early afternoon. But this is the time of day I find myself really wanting a cigar. If I ever crave a cigar, it's generally between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
That's just my favorite time. I know I've been smoking a lot of the lighter cigars, a lot of the milder cigars, but today, I went ahead and lit up the old S.H.T. S.H.T has been around forever. I mean, it's kind of made by Fuente, so been around a long time. Now this one here is the Maduro. I was ready for my Maduro, so I went ahead and lit up the S.H.T Maduro. It's a pricey cigar. They're generally between 20 to 25.
Okay.
So they're kind of pricey, depending on the size you get. But it's a really good cigar. Yeah, Scott. Now this is going to be one of those where I'm supposed to, you should get some of that dark chocolate, you should get some of that almond, you should get some nuts in there, and then you're going to have a little bit of that, pepper on the retro hail, all that crap. Right now I just lit it up, and it just takes me a while before I get into the good part of the cigar.
Right.
But I will say this right here is my favorite time of day for a cigar.
Yeah.
And generally if I'm going to have a good dark cigar, a heavy cigar, this is when I have a tendency to do it. I know a lot of people like them late at night, late in the day. Their last cigar is going to be that super heavy, but I don't smoke all day long. You know what I mean? People that are smoking all day long, by the end of the day, your taste buds are all messed up in your mouth from smoking. So you've got to smoke something super, super strong in order to be able to taste it. I'm not that guy. You know, very rarely do I ever smoke more than one cigar in a day. And I don't smoke them every day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, I probably smoke one probably 3 or 4 times a week. Not to say I won't smoke 2 on a weekend. You know, there's times I might smoke one at this time, and then if we're got a fire going, you're sitting by a fire, you know what I mean, having a few beers, yeah, I'm probably going to light up another one, but I'm going to light up something lighter and milder then. This right here is a pretty heavy cigar, but they're really, really good. So, what do you got?
Today I actually have the Diesel Whiskey Row. This one is a Robusto. Again, I don't know really what that means, other than they always put that in the name if it's that.
Right.
It's the size, right? The length of the cigar?
It's considered the shape.
Okay.
But yes, technically, if it's a Robusto, you're probably going to be somewhere between 5 and 5.5 inches. Okay.
But this one is the Diesel Whiskey Row, and it has, get my cheat sheet out, the Ecuador Habano wrapper, and then all the binders are aged in bourbon barrels.
I've had that cigar.
I thought you've tried it. This is the first time, so I don't even know what to expect.
I've had that cigar. I like the diesels.
Yeah.
I do like the diesel cigar, and I do like that particular, the Whiskey Row. The one I smoked, it burned real good. It burned nice and slow. It burned nice and even.
Yeah.
I mean, the construction was fantastic on it. It just burned really good. You get a good amount of smoke when you breathe it in. And
right. Yeah, I have noticed it does produce quite a bit of smoke.
Yeah, I do like that one. Yeah, this one here now. This one here, like it's the Maduro wrapper. So and it's going to be a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. So it's going to be a heavy, rich Maduro.
Right.
But everything inside's all Dominican.
Okay.
It's in a sense you'd want to say it's a Dominican Puro, but it is a Connecticut wrapper.
Right.
On the outside. It didn't say whether it was grown in Dominican. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The same thing. The Oscuro wrappers or the whatever, you know, the Rojos, and it's a lot of that is just it's a seed that they got from Cuba.
Right.
Well, it's the same thing with Connecticut wrappers. You know, if you get a Connecticut broadleaf, whatever, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean it was grown in Connecticut.
Yeah.
It could be that seed grown in Ecuador a lot of times. You know what I mean? In Ecuador, they generally put that in there to let you know what region it was grown in.
Yeah.
But everything inside here is all Dominican. Okay. And it's still very good. I say still because I have a tendency to lean more towards the Nicaraguan cigars.
Yeah.
But even with the Dominicans, it's really good.
I know for your question, I mean, I don't, especially right now with allergies, my allergies this year have been ridiculous. Like, this is probably, I mean, other than, usually I get like the buildup in the eyes and all that. Luckily this year, I haven't had that yet. I've had like the dry eyes and stuff, but it hasn't done the whole gunk up stuff, you know, allergies. But my nose this year has been, I've lived off nasal spray for a month and a half. Like I take...
Is it true you can get addicted to that?
That's what I hear. I don't know how, because I don't like using it.
You get the shakes before you put it on there? No. Gotta have it, man. Gotta have it. No?
No, I mean, I hate using it, but it's the only thing that works. Because I'm sure by the end of this, I'll probably have to put more in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't smoked a whole lot the last 2 months. But usually when I do smoke, it's more in the evening.
Yeah.
And I do like the coffee cigars that have more of the coffee notes and hazelnut and all that. And I have drank coffee while smoking them. It just didn't happen to be in the morning, because it's one of those things, like, I'm sure I would actually like it, but the thought of liking smoking in the morning when I first get up with my coffee just seems a little weird to me. But I don't mind having coffee in the evening. Yeah. I don't have to work the next day.
Right. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I've never smoked in the morning, because I have. I mean, there's been a time or two where I'll have. I don't drink coffee though.
Right.
You know what I mean? I drink soda usually in the morning, but I love Dr. Pepper. I love root beer. I love cream soda. I love all of those with a cigar.
Right. And a lot of those will bring those same notes out that coffee does.
So for me, I've done it before when I'm here and don't have really a whole lot going on or whatever, or maybe it's one of those things where I'm getting ready to watch to see how the episode turned out or something like that. I might light up a cigar.
Yeah.
They say they have the tins where you get like 10 in a tin, small cigars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, something like that is more apt for me in the morning,
right?
As opposed to sitting down, lighting this up, and saying, "All right,
for the next hour and a half, 2 hours."
Yeah. My next hour and a half is now going to just be sitting here.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I kind of like that.
But when you can open up a tin, and I got like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. Some of them, are slightly bigger.
Right.
Sometimes that's the perfect, amount.
Yeah, for me, especially in the wintertime, if you're sitting out now, we've got the luxury of being able to.
Right.
We have a pretty nice lounge that we get to go to now. But before then, when I was standing out by a fire, that's all I smoked with those kind in the tins. 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the most, and I'm done.
Right.
That's all I want. But
now I have noticed, because I'm quite a fan of
Drew Estates.
Yeah, Drew Estates, and a lot more of the Deadwood and all that are coming out with tins.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that a lot now, looking them up online, magazines. I've noticed a lot of the ones that I like to smoke are now starting to come out with more tins on it. It's like,
that's cool.
Might need to make a purchase here soon.
Yeah, right now I'm so financially embarrassed I can't buy any more cigars.
Right.
And my wife will tell you I don't need to buy any more cigars. Pretty good. Pretty well stocked up on some cigars now.
Yeah.
I've got another purchase I'm getting ready to make, and because Thompson's, where I get a lot of my cigars, they have certain ones that I smoke all the time that are on sale right now, a real good sale right now. So
right.
Now I'm gonna have to buy it because I can get 2 boxes basically for the price of one. So it's like, well, I gotta take advantage of it. You know what I mean? You gotta do it.
Right.
And it's not like a cigar goes bad. You know what I'm saying? You put it in your humidor, and they just get better as time goes on.
Right.
We were talking about the Padron.
Yeah.
You can get a Padron 2000 or 3000, or 5000, whatever. That's just their standard $10 cigar. Then if you want to get their 64 or their all their anniversary ones, you start paying a lot more money for those.
Right.
It's the same exact cigar. It was just aged.
Yeah.
One was aged, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's either 3 years and 5 years, or it's 5 years and 7 years, something like that.
Yeah.
But that's what they said. Just go buy you one of those, a box of. Now again, you're still paying $10 a cigar, which is what I normally smoke. Is $10 cigars. That's a higher end cigar for me. If I'm going to spend anywhere from $10 to $15, that's pretty much as I'm going to spend.
Yeah.
If I'm smoking an Ashton, or if I'm smoking a Cohiba Red Dot, that means I bought that while it was on sale.
Right.
And I got that cigar for $5. I didn't pay $25 for a cigar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I can't. It's hard for me to justify.
It's a lot of money.
That's for me, $20-$25. That's a special celebration type of cigar. I've been looking at this one for so long now. It's been sitting in there for a while, and it's like, God, I really want to try it. And today was one of those where I sweated so much, and it's like I want something, with ice in it to keep it cold. And it was like, instead of drinking beer, it's like I'm going to go with Dr. Pepper. Maybe a splash of Eagle Rare in there or whatever. But I was like, I think I'm going to break out that Ashton finally. I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet and smoke this one.
Yeah.
And I can definitely taste the dark chocolate and the...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that darker, richer... To me, because I don't like milk chocolate.
Right.
That's too sweet for me.
Yeah.
Dark chocolate is that more, it's got a little bit of a bite, and it's got a little bit of a bitterness to it. And then when you do get that pepper on the exhale,
yeah,
it's a pretty good combination.
I know, I am finding that as I'm getting older, a lot of milk chocolate is getting too sweet now for me. And the lower end dark chocolate is more where I'm at.
Yeah.
Now, I can't do, like, the people that do like the 90% and all that, I can't. Like, that's too much for me. You get down to like the 70 to 75% dark chocolates, those, to me, those are really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, afternoon's my favorite, but I'll smoke them late at night. Like I said, we do something, for instance, when was it? I think it was 2 weekends ago. Went to Cincinnati, saw Tab Benoit, blues player. Seen him many times, met him many times, and I know his routine. I know after a show, he's gonna, when he leaves the arena, he's gonna be out by his bus. He likes to smoke a cigar, and he likes his cognac. Yeah. And that's what he does. Now, if somebody comes out there, he doesn't keep you from coming up or anything like that. He talks to everybody, takes pictures, does all that, signs autograph, all that stuff too. But that's just his, after he's done playing, that's what he has to go do. So we went out there, and I smoked like these My Fathers. Yeah. Now again, that's a Robusto. It's a smaller cigar, but made by my father, which is fantastic. And so I'll be out there at whatever, 11, 12 o'clock at night, firing up a cigar. That's about the only time I ever do that. But, you know, I do smoke them on occasion. You know, in Cincinnati, there was nobody out there. We just hung out because Tab rides. He's a motorcyclist. He's got a 2014 Ultra Classic. You know, him and his wife met through riding. He used to race motocross, and that's how he met his wife.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, she was 15 years old, he was 16 years old, and they are still together today. Huh. They have been married for 40 years. Wow. And that's with, this is a you know, a rock and roll lifestyle and everything else, that he's always been able to keep everything in check, and he's always done things right. And so yeah, it was just kind of fun just to be able to sit out there and just laugh and joke. And you know, he's fun. He's a funny guy. You know, he also spent some time doing some stand-up comedy too. Yeah. So he is funny. He's a comedian. He's a great blues player, fantastic guitar player, great singer. His whole band is fantastic.
I know one of these days I'm finally going to see him. Just happens that most of his concerts end up being on a night that doesn't work for me because I get up so early. Yeah, he's one of the few we do travel to go see him. We don't go super far usually. You know, we'll travel out 6 hours maybe sometimes. But generally, if he's like in Louisville, Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, even up by Chicago, or out in St. Louis. I've been out to St. Louis to see him. In fact, he's going to be in St. Louis at the City Winery tomorrow night, or Thursday night. Huh. I was planning on going out there then. It's just not going to work out. With the last week being down with the pleurisy, it kind of threw a wrench in everything for me. So yeah. You know, times like those, yeah, I'm going to smoke a cigar late at night, but that's pretty late for me. Right. A lot of times, if it gets up, you know, during the week, if it gets 9 o'clock at night, I don't ever think about lighting the cigar up at 9 o'clock at night on a weekend. No. I just don't. No. I just don't. I say, if it's like, get done working in the yard, mowing and all that, 6 or 7, to me, that's almost like the perfect time for me. You know, I go in, usually I'll smoke before I take a shower, that way I can, when I take a shower, it'll, you know, wash all the smoke off too. So, go in the fridge in the garage, grab a drink out of there, and sit on the front porch. Because we got a nice, it's not a huge front porch, but you've got a little 2-seater thing out there, and it's covered, so it's nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect.
Since we got a break, did you happen to use your Chuck's hogwash when you took your shower before this?
You know, oddly enough,
You did not?
Did not.
Oh.
That's why I look so scraggly. Dude, I didn't put any beard oil in. I didn't do any of that stuff. It was so muggy out.
Yeah.
And I'm a tightwad cheap ass, so I don't have air conditioning going right now. And so it's just humid, and after I showered, I was still sweating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, like in Seinfeld, you know, the shower didn't take.
Right.
Didn't you take a shower? Yeah, it didn't take. I'm still sweating. And it was one of those where if you're super sweaty, you get in the shower when you get out. And listen, we have an outdoor shower.
Yeah.
So I took an outside shower, and I turned the heater thing off. So it was just garden hose water. And basically, and I was still sweating when I got done. Still sweating. And so no, I never even put the hogwash in there. I'm almost out. I'm getting ready to have to buy some new stuff because I'm about out of it.
Yeah.
Because that badass beard care.
Yeah.
Badass beard care. I did say it right.
You said it right.
It's just a fantastic product.
It is.
Absolutely fantastic. I love it in the beard, love the oil, but I'm probably a bigger fan of the hogwash.
Yeah.
Because that shampoo that they have, dear Lord, it just...
I don't know what's in it. I mean, I've looked at the ingredients. It's all good stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't understand how it can make your beard so much more full.
Right.
And it really, like, darkens it up. I mean, I have a darker beard anyways. But it's like, I get done, it's like, my beard almost looks black. I'm
right.
like, I don't have black hair. So it's weird. But I love the beard oil. And I've used beard oil for years. I've even used the balm. I had no idea that you're actually supposed to put beard oil in and then put the balm on top of that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I never used the balm.
So in the past, I've always...
Nobody told me to put on the balm. Who told you to use the balm?
Basically, the balm is to help keep your beard in place. So you put it in, and it kind of stiffens it up a little bit, keeps it nice shape. So if you're going like to somewhere fancy or something like that, it's going to look nicer for longer.
Okay.
Because it's staying in place.
Okay.
But you put the beard oil in first to hydrate it, and then you put that balm on.
Huh.
And it makes a huge difference.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
Next time I go somewhere fancy.
Yeah.
Where I gotta look pretty.
I wear it when we go film.
And instead, I'm just, blue jeans and a t-shirt. Like my Buell shirt, representing the Buell.
Right. When did they stop making Buell?
Well, Eric Buell's making a new one now.
Oh, is he?
More of a racing product, which is what he always was anyway. He was a racer.
Yeah.
I don't know when the Buell line, which had Harley.
Yeah, Harley Motors.
I think Harley did work with the motor and the transmission, so like the power was through Harley. And then eventually they went with the Rotac. I remember that. That was the last thing they did before they finally stopped production with them. Yeah, I don't know, man. The Cyclones, when they first came out, were fantastic. Then they had the Lightnings and the Thunderbolts, and then they had the City Street. They had the Buell Blast, which was the 500cc.
Which has a lot more pep in it than most people thought.
Which is a great... Well, that was the problem. Because Harley-Davidson, when they were doing their rider courses, they thought, well, we'll get these 500s to use for rider courses. You just ashed on the floor.
Oh, I ashed. That was holding on really good, too.
I know. Too bad there wasn't a hole down there.
Yeah.
It'd be your ash hole. But, yeah, I know Harley-Davidson started using the Blast for their rider course. And it was like, you can't put a person that's never rode a motorcycle on one of those Blasts because they're so... I mean, you just barely touch the throttle, barely let go of the clutch. I mean, the front end will stand up on them with no problem.
I put the front end up a few times on them. I don't have a whole lot of riding experience, but I went from the Honda Rebel to the Buell Blast, and it was like I can't drive this yet. Like
it's a whole different ball game.
Whole different ball game. Yeah.
But Yeah, those are the Buells. I just loved them. Absolutely loved them. And of course, Cindy rode the Buell Blast for quite a few years. I think she put about 50,000 miles on her Blast before she got on a big Dyna. But I absolutely love the Buells. And I still have a ton of Buell stuff. Bubba Blackwell, after he had his bad crash out in Del Mar, California, when he started doing stunt shows instead of doing the motorcycle jump, so he was breaking all of Evel Knievel's records.
Right.
And then after that bad crash, he decided to do some stunts, and that's when Eric Buell came to Bubba, and they had a stunt rider overseas, and then they wanted one for America, and so Bubba was the Buell stunt rider.
Right.
So of course I had a lot of Buell gear back then.
Yeah.
And so I still have a lot of Buell shirts and stuff like that, and I love it only because it's a great conversation. Because when you see another person, they're like, "Oh, dude, Buell."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so many people didn't realize that they were part of Harley either. So
first one that was actually made there at Ukes Harley Davidson there in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Yeah, that's where Eric Buell worked.
Okay.
And so that was kind of a cool thing. They actually put the first one together there, and then they kind of went into production. And yeah, I know Cindy had her little. They had little stickers on there, powered by Harley, powered by Harley Davidson or something like that, and she had that little sticker on her frame.
Right.
Yeah.
Yours is burning real slow.
Well, for $25, you're darn well better.
Better. I don't remember what I paid for these because it was a 5-pack Fever from Thompson.
Right.
So I know I paid $25 for 5 of them.
I was going to say, you paid $5 for that cigar.
I don't remember what they are normally.
They're not cheap by any means, but I think they're up around that $8 to $10 range, maybe a little over $10, maybe. Kind of in the range of what I look for in a cigar.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. You open up that humidor behind me, you're going to find some $2 cigars and $3 cigars.
Yeah. Oh, one of my go-tos that I smoke is it's Thompson brand, and it's the Brittany Hazelnut Cream. And it's just, it's a smaller cigar. Like I might smoke it for 20 minutes because it is a pretty fast burning cigar. Because again, you get a box of like 50 of them for $40.
Okay.
So if you want just a go-to drink, it's like picking that can up. If you want a go-to smoke that you know is going to be about 20 minutes, but it's still going to be really good flavor and good overall quality, because those rarely ever run. They burn really nice. You figure $40 for 50 of them. It's a pretty good price.
Pretty good price.
Now you're not going to sit for an hour and a half and smoke them.
Exactly.
But to just have something that you can go to real quick.
Yeah.
They're pretty nice. They actually have pipe tobacco mixed into the binders.
Oh, is that right?
So it gives off a really nice scent too.
I was going to say, the aroma would be really good. Yeah.
This diesel's pretty good. It's not. I was a little worried because I know a lot of the diesels are pretty strong.
Right.
I think this is one of their more mild diesels.
You were afraid when I liked it. You thought, oh no, I may not like this one. No, last night I was smoking a cigar and I just got some in. And again, we always talk about it. You and I think every podcast when we're doing just kind of this right here, we always talk about it. Just let it sit in the humidor for a month before you light one up. Just let it acclimate.
Right.
And I just can't do it. I don't know why. I can order off the senior menu, but I still haven't grown up enough to just not do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I lit up one of the talking about smoking the lighter cigars. The Monte Cristos, Dominican Puro. Again, I usually lean more towards, but I find that Dominicans to me they're not as spicy. They're not as, they're just not, they don't have as much, they don't kick me in the teeth.
Right.
Whereas some of the Nicaraguans, they'll kick you in the teeth.
They definitely have a lot more pep.
the Monte Cristos, though, to me is just such a great old world type of cigar. You know what I mean? And obviously they still make them in Cuba as well, but this is the legal kind. And so I always do that 5-pack fever. So I know I'm going to get them for $5 a piece.
Right.
And I ordered quite a few this last time, and they've been sitting in that humidor for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like,
you need to give them one more week.
It's like, good enough. I'm good enough. I'm going for it. That thing I could not keep. And the odd thing was, it almost seemed too wet. It got real mushy at the bottom.
Yeah.
Once I got down to like starting the last third of the cigar, couldn't keep it lit for nothing. It got real soggy, and it's like, this almost feels like it's still too wet. And it was like, now it was pretty humid outside, but still, the humidor it's in, because I've got a couple different humidors. The one I have those in is my lower setting. It's the humidity is usually in the upper 50s, like a 58, and so I was really surprised. It was like, daggone, how what was the moisture level in those things when they shipped to me?
Right. That's
that after
weird.
2 weeks they're still, you know. Now again, I leave mine in the cellophane, and I have them in the bottom of the humidor. So the bottom of the humidor is going to be a little bit more humid anyway. Because that was something I mentioned. What I need to do is, like a lot of these cooladors, that's what I use. A lot of them, they have like 2 shelves, and then one shelf is actually a
tray. And
so a lot of my loose cigars I put in that tray. Generally, the humidor in here, that tray I keep in the center.
Okay.
And then that way I can keep boxes of cigars down low.
Right.
Whereas that other humidor, that tray is at the very bottom. So, and I know that it's going to be more humid down there. I keep a hygrometer on each shelf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how anal I am about it.
I probably should with mine, but I don't.
And I know that the bottom is always more moist. So, yeah, I need to do something. But yeah, I just got so frustrated. I finally just threw it down. I was done. And I hate it because those are great cigars.
Right.
Those are some of my absolute favorite cigars anymore. And I was just, it's my fault. Can't bitch about them.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything wrong. It was all my fault. I just didn't let it sit long enough.
Yeah, I've got my coolador. And now, you know, I like the infused cigars. That's my go-to is more of the infused stuff, more flavor.
Flavor. I'm going to get you a big clock to wear around your neck.
Oh, yeah.
Flavor.
Not that there's anything wrong with normal cigars. It's just for some reason I'm drawn more to the infused ones. I like a lot of the stronger flavors and stuff like that in there. But I know you can't keep a cigar like this, like the Diesel. I can't keep in my coolador because if you have infused cigars and you keep them next to normal cigars, then infused will actually
kind of
spread over.
Yeah.
So I got a coolador that's full of infused cigars, and I have 2 jars that have all my normal cigars. So
That's
probably should have another humidor so I can get rid of the jars, but my electric bill's already high enough.
Right. Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I've got a couple different smaller ones. I wish I would have just gotten one big one.
Yeah.
I'd like to spend the money, you know, maybe in a year or two I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to buy one, because most of your lower end cooladors, they just have a way of cooling.
Yeah.
They don't have a way of heating.
Right.
Now, in this particular room here, the temperature stays pretty much the same all the time in here.
Yeah.
This is a small lounge area, so it's very easy, you know, to heat or to cool this room. Whereas, you know, at home in my house where my bigger humidor is, again, I'm a tightwad. I still haven't turned the heat on or turned the AC on.
Better not have the heat on.
But it will cool it. But like in the wintertime, I keep my house much cooler than most people do.
Right.
And I had issues with my heater, the furnace this year. So my house was dropping down, 55 degrees, 52 degrees. which again doesn't bother me
Yeah.
at all. I love that. I sleep so good when it's like that. But for a humidor that won't heat it back
Yeah.
up, that means the temperature's staying at 52, which means your humidity is going to drop even more.
Right.
So it's just, I want to buy, I'm going to spend the money, but you know, to get a really good one, you're talking close to $1,000.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't understand. It's like, well, why are you so picky about your cigars? It's like, well, listen, or humidor. It's like, if I'm going to be spending some of these cigars that are $20 a piece, you buy a box of that, you know, dude, it's nothing to spend $400 for a box of cigars.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I start looking in there and it's like, all right, I've got about 500 cigars. And it's like, yeah, I want to keep them in something that's going to keep those things, you know, because I'm not going to smoke them all right away.
No.
You know, a lot of these I'm leaving in there. I'm not
Yeah.
going to smoke, like we were talking about with those Padrones.
Yeah.
Put it in the humidor and leave it for 3 years. Now all of a sudden you've got the anniversary edition
Right.
for the price of the other one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's you know, I don't know. I think if you're gonna make an investment in all the cigars, you might as well make an investment in a good
Yeah.
humidor. Now, back before I was smoking that many or whatever, I've always used jars with a sealed lid. Now, I didn't even use Boveda packs. I used to just use a salt shaker with a sponge in it. With we had reverse osmosis water, so I'd use that, and a hygrometer that I bought from Walmart. The jar I bought from Walmart. You know what I mean? The salt shaker I bought from Walmart, and the sponge. You know, so all said and done, that's what I had. And I'll be honest, compared to the coolador, the big coolador I have back at my house, I think the jar actually worked better.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly do. I think it was more consistent.
I think on our next podcast, we need to bring, if you still have that stuff, if not, I'll bring one of mine, and we can show people how to put it together. That way, if you're just getting started in cigars,
Right?
there's no reason in spending money on humidors, cooladors, and all that if you're just getting started.
Exactly.
You can literally buy all this stuff at Walmart or whatever your local store is for under $50.
I was going to say, nowadays it's probably more like $40.
Yeah.
You know, I think when I made mine 10 years ago, I think I did
Probably 20.
I honestly, I don't think I spent more than $20 for everything.
I say, I think the jars now, to have the wide opening and stuff at the top, they're pretty much 20 to 25.
Yeah.
That's the most expensive part of it. Is
And the hygrometer is usually about 13, 14, 15 bucks now. Back when I started, they were like $7 or $8.
Yeah.
They've almost doubled in price now too, like everything else.
Right.
But yes, for 50 bucks, you can make a humidor that'll work just fine. And now that I realize, oh, you don't need a salt and pepper shaker.
Yeah.
Get you a Boveda pack, you toss it in there, and you're done.
Yeah.
And it releases, it takes in the humidity if it needs to. So
And pretty much any tobacco shop has those now. Like before, you used to have to buy them all online. But now, so many of these tobacco shops carry all this product now.
well, and a lot of people used to laugh because I had mine like that. And they'd laugh because for 10 years I had that.
Right.
A good 10 years, that's all I ever used. And people are like, oh my God. And then they're like, what in the world? And then they'd stop and look at it and go, well, actually that's pretty good.
Right.
Now again, you're subject to whatever the temperature is in your house. Because it's not, you can't heat it or cool it, but dude, I did it forever. I mean, am I going to go spend $250 for a box of cigars to dump them all in there and let them sit there for 3 years? No. I'm going to have a good humidor that's going to keep everything about the same all the time to do something like that. But man, if you're just going out buying a few cigars just to keep them around while and you're smoking one a week,
Right.
I mean, shoot, that's the way to do it. And now they all sell them. You go to anyone, they call them acrylic humidors.
Yeah.
And they did the same damn thing I was doing that people were laughing at me for. It's like, well, shit, they're all selling them now.
Yep.
Every company out there sells them. The one thing they do different than what I did is they get, because you want Spanish cedar
Yes.
inside your humidor. These cooladors, all your shelves, the decent ones, they should all be Spanish cedar wood in there because you want that in there. That's the only difference they did was they actually had a disc cut out and that sat at the bottom. So you got the Spanish cedar inside there. That was the only thing I didn't do.
But you can buy that at Walmart too, because they make them for closets.
Exactly.
To hang in your closet.
Exactly.
So you can get a little cedar puck from the closet organization aisle or whatever. And you get those there too.
Yep. So, and that's what I've done now with my jar one. I don't have anything in it.
Oh yeah.
But there was something I got, actually had a piece of an extra piece inside the box. And so I was like, well, there's my answer right there. All I got to do is bring it out here on my bandsaw, and I'll just cut it into a circle, like drop that in the bottom, and it's like, shoot, I'll start using that. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's like at my camper. You know, I can leave that in my camper, and it works out. It works just fine. You know, Ziploc baggies. Mm-hmm. I know Tab and what, when he's on the road, when he goes on the road and he brings his cigars, they're in a big Ziploc baggie type. I mean, and they sell them. Boveda sells them.
Huh.
A Ziploc baggie, and you throw one of your little Boveda packs in there, you throw all your cigars in there, you zip it, you close it, and bam.
Huh. Let's say when we went camping last year to film the Freebird Fest, that's what you told me to do, because I didn't have anything, a travel case or anything at the time. So you're like, yeah, just put it in there, and I just used a damp paper towel. So you use a small baggie with a damp paper towel and keep that in there, and yeah, it worked just fine.
That's exactly what I did that forever. And now, like both of us have, you know, travel ones, you know, because I like those in the motorcycle. If I'm going to throw a cigar in a saddlebag, you know, a lot of people don't realize cigars like this, there's nothing worse than going into a cigar shop where they mainly sell cigarettes and bongs and stuff like that. And then they have a small humidor that you can go in and buy cigars. Now, there's several of them around here that I go to all the time. But the people that work there don't understand the way a cigar is made.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than buying a cigar and all of a sudden they just slam that thing down on the counter.
Yeah.
Or they toss it to the counter. It's like, no! You don't want. That's why, like, a lot of these cigars, like my father, they put that, what they call the foot band.
Oh, okay.
So that's what that,
because this one had the...
Exactly. And that's what that band is for, to protect that foot from splitting if somebody drops it. If it falls out of the humidor and lands on the floor, this cigar is probably going to be protected a lot better than, say, this CAO that I got standing right here.
Yeah.
No, it has a foot band as well.
I was going to say, I don't think the... Yeah. Girl with No Name doesn't have it.
There you go. And a lot of the ones I buy don't have them. This Ashton did not have one.
This has been in the humidor for quite a while. And it's got a spot on it. I don't know if that was there when I bought it or not. It's going to be kind of hard to see with that wrap on there, but...
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I see it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I thought about doing the Argentum, so I got the 5-pack of those. But I know this is a much bolder cigar.
I was going to say, have you tried one of those?
And I haven't tried it yet, so I did not want to do this on camera. I knew I could probably get away with doing the diesel, only because I knew it wasn't one of their stronger ones. I know the Argentum is a very strong cigar, and generally I stay away from those.
Didn't I smoke that the last review we did?
I don't know if it was a review. I think
it was not a review, just one of the times we were together.
When we were hanging out.
And, but that's a cigar now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I definitely had more hair on my chest when I was done with that cigar. Yeah, it's a lot of cigar.
Yeah.
So, because I almost didn't light it up because I was like, well, I kind of want a bigger cigar. And I was like, all right, well, damn near 60 ring gauge on it. It's a pretty fat cigar. And I smoked, it took me just as long to smoke that as it did for you to smoke whatever you were smoking. But it is, it's got a lot. It's got a lot. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good.
Yeah, I don't think that was the last. I think that was just us hanging out. So I was trying to think of the last one that I edited, and I don't think it wasn't that. No, our last one was the Padron. Was it the yellow band or Perdomo? Which one's the yellow band?
Actually, the yellow. That was probably
the yellow classic.
Yeah, I was going to say I probably did the Monte Cristo.
That was the last. That was the last one we did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I smoked last night. That I wouldn't wait long enough for it to. I go through those faster than any of my other cigars.
Yeah.
And again, it's only one per order, but they had two sizes. They had the Toro, and then they had the Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
So I could order one of the Toro, you know, a 5-pack of Toros, a 5-pack of Churchills. But I went through them. Those 10 cigars went pretty quick.
Yeah.
So the last time I ordered the same thing, 2 of those again. And then I also got some of those Cohibas. Everybody always talks about the Cohibas. It's like, oh, you know, and they find the ones that are, these are the Mexican ones, or the Cuban ones.
Yeah.
Well, they have fake labels on those now, too.
Oh, yeah.
So you never know. And to me, I always laugh anyways. Like, have you smoked any of the other Cohibas? Because they're expensive, too.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to spend $25 easy for a small little 5-inch Robusto cigar from Cohiba.
Right.
But I did pick up some of those, too. So after my ordeal with the one last night, I was like, I'm definitely waiting another 2 weeks before I pull any of those out.
I do have to say this Diesel Whiskey Row is not bad. I could really, you know, once you get past that first little bit, you really pick up the bourbon in it. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of flavor to it.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that much flavor. Yeah.
What are you drinking? You drinking rum?
Coconut rum and passion fruit juice.
Nice.
Because when you make hurricanes, you have to have passion fruit juice. Mm-hmm. And I had just enough left for one drink, so I was like, yeah, I'll just go ahead and finish that. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to be born in the Bahamas or something.
Right. Yeah, you were definitely made for the coast. Some coast. I don't know which coast, but somebody's coast.
I do have to say, last year we took a cruise down to the Bahamas. It was an Eastern Caribbean cruise.
Oh, so you're not a flat earther, I can tell. You did
Curved
this,
it.
right? You did
Curved
this.
it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we sailed over the equator and then started going upside down. But as soon as we got into international water,
You know that's why I won't go south of the equator.
you're afraid you'll fall off.
Oh, I do not like being upside down.
But it was, I think it was May when we went. And of course, allergies were all going crazy. So I brought all kinds of medication, you know, with me on the cruise ship. As soon as we hit international water, I didn't use another allergy medicine until we got back to Miami.
Is that right?
I had no allergies while we were out at sea on all the islands and all that. Nothing.
Huh. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me with all the stuff I don't know. I don't like to get into too much of that stuff, and I know YouTube doesn't really like people getting too much into that kind of stuff, but
I just thought it was interesting. It cleared up completely.
You can't ignore that kind of stuff.
Right.
You just can't ignore the fact that as soon as I get away from this, and I get it, if you're going from, say, here in Indiana, mm-hmm. where, again, we're surrounded by corn and soy,
yep.
two of the largest GMO
yes.
crops, right? It's almost impossible to find corn that's not GMO anymore. I mean, it's something like 95% is mm-hmm. all GMO now. You can't hardly buy regular corn anymore.
Yeah. And
whether you like GMO or against GMO, I am a natural person, so yes. I am very much against all that stuff. You know, I'm surrounded by cornfields.
It's everywhere out here.
You're either surrounded by cornfield, and the next year it's soybean. You know what I mean? So you got both of those crops. And then you leave somewhere like this, and you go down somewhere, say Las Vegas or mm-hmm. Arizona, where there's no humidity.
Right.
And the air is a little cleaner. You're out in the desert or whatever. And all of a sudden you can breathe better. Uh-huh. And it's like, huh. You know, I remember my dad lived down in Savannah, Georgia. Mm-hmm. We always called it the Savannah Funk. And every night he had to take his Alka-Seltzer Plus so he could go to sleep because his head would be such a mess. And I remember him making the comment, man, I went out to Arizona. He went to Vegas for something to do with motor lodge business. And he said kind of the same thing. As soon as I stepped off the plane, I was fine.
Yeah.
As soon as I flew back home, Got out in Savannah, he said, instantly. Couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything.
And I know some of that is just local allergies. Because, I didn't even have allergies until 2016. Had no allergies. I had never had any issues with breathing and all the nasal crap going on. 2016, I don't know what happened, but it all decided to drain out in one shot. And we happened to move in 2016 from here to Washington State, and because I went to school out there to work on airplanes, and surrounded by nothing but evergreens and pine trees. And it was 1,000 times worse out there. And then after all the schooling and all that, when we went back here, it was like that jump. It was like my brain was like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, for about 3 years, spring into summer has just been horrible. And then it kind of cleared up a little bit. And then this year has just been absolutely horrible. Like, I don't know why, but this year has just been very bad.
I've had issues this year with sinuses, and I never have them in the spring. I have issues in the fall.
Right.
Fall, that's when I have the problems. When they start harvesting the field, especially when it's corn. When
I think yours is more mold allergies.
It is. It's more the mold and that kind of stuff. In the fall, God, it drives me crazy. But spring, I never have issues. This year and last year, I had a lot of spring allergies. Never had them ever before. Now I do. And again, like I said, I'm surrounded by these fields, so I know what overspray.
Right.
That's the worst part. I grow my own food. I grow my own. I have my own garden. We grow. All your.
So you guys have a lot.
All your normal stuff. Your normal things like your tomatoes and I'm peppers. That's my main thing.
Yes.
I grow a lot of peppers, and I like my blackberries and my raspberries.
We're going to have an episode where we do samplings of your sauce, hot sauce, and stuff like that.
But if we were to sell our stuff, if we wanted to get this and bring it to like a farmer's market and sell it at a farmer's market, whatever, do you know technically we cannot label it as organic, even though we use 0 pesticides. We don't use anything we never spray our stuff down with anything.
Right.
Everything we use is all organic, it's all natural. I make it a point to buy seeds from reputable companies that I know I'm not getting GMO crap.
Yeah.
They're all natural. And yet, because I'm surrounded by all these other commercial farms, I wouldn't be able to label mine as organic because of all the overcrap that all overspray and stuff like that that comes off of theirs. I don't know, man. Where do you stand on that whole thing? Because I don't understand why we're genetically modifying all this stuff. I remember when they did the mosquitoes. Down in South America. For what was it? The Zika.
The Zika virus.
Now the Zika virus, if you got it, it was nothing more than the common cold.
Right.
On very rare occasions, it would cause a problem with a certain person or whatever.
Right.
But for the vast majority, it was nothing more than a common cold. So then they're gonna make genetically modified mosquitoes. They're gonna breed with the other ones or kill them, whatever it was supposed to do. All of a sudden, they have all these birth defects. All these pregnant ladies, their kids are birth defects. It's like, how many times do we have to do this to realize it doesn't work?
Right.
It's wrong. It's worse than what we were doing. It's like,
now they're doing it with the insects and viruses, stuff like that. Like, that's going off into science fiction almost area. A lot of foods I understood when they first started doing it, the whole purpose, especially with corn, they found it was like 3 varieties of seeds that produced bigger corn, so they wanted to make sure that instead of getting 3 ears of corn per stalk, we could put these together and modify it, and we can get 6 ears of corn on a stalk.
Right.
So I understood that part of it, but now they're just, because that's natural genetic modification when you're cross-pollinating seeds like that.
right.
That's really not bad. It's when you start going in, and I don't even know how they mass produce seeds that are genetically modified.
Right.
I mean, I've never looked into that. We're not professionals of that.
No. But this is just two people smoking a cigar,
right,
having a drink, and talking about our opinions on things. Yes.
But when you go in and you start in laboratories genetically modifying things, you're not doing it naturally anymore. You know, you can have an apple tree that could have 3 varieties of apples on it.
Exactly.
Because you can naturally splice plants together like that, and they still grow. But when you start, all of a sudden there's all these new varieties of apples that have never existed before, and they weren't naturally put together.
When you can cut it
Something's
open,
not right.
when you can cut open an apple, set it on the counter, and 3 months later it's still just as good as it was before you cut it. I remember when they came out with that, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's awesome." I was like, "No, it's not awesome.
It never browns.
It's not supposed to do that."
Right. An apple should brown within 5 minutes of being cut on the counter.
You know, when you go to the grocery store and you buy an apple and they're bright and shiny and they look awesome, it's like, no, that's not what an apple looks like. It's, you know, and it wasn't until 2020 when all the crap happened is when I started growing my own food. There were certain foods I would eat. I'll eat green beans, I'll eat carrots, I'll eat that stuff, but I don't really like it. You know what I mean? I eat it because it's good for you, but, you know, it's like, yeah, it's food, I'll eat it, whatever. I started growing my own food, man. All of a sudden, I'm eating carrots. I'm like, oh my God.
It tastes amazing.
Carrots are awesome. You know, green beans. I like green beans. Cindy, she's never liked peas a day in her life. All of a sudden, we started growing sugar snap peas. Yeah. And all of a sudden, she's like, oh my, and she's picking them right off the vine, eating them raw right off the vine, going, oh my God, these are delicious. I never realized how good food tasted when you grew it the right way.
Yeah.
The natural way. It's like, yes, if I cut open my apple and I leave it on the counter, you know what? I come back an hour or two later, it's going to be brown.
Yeah.
It's what it's supposed to do.
It's supposed to do that.
You know, and like you said, you know, as far as the, you know, if you're going to be, you know, crossing plants and all that, there's nothing wrong with that. Shoot, I'll do that with like a lot of times I'll put my jalapeno peppers plants. I don't even graft them.
Yeah.
I just grow them. I grow most of my stuff is in containers.
Right.
But I'll keep my jalapenos usually right around where I keep my ghost peppers. Because they have a tendency they will kind of cross-pollinate on their own. Yes. And therefore, my jalapeno peppers will have a little more kick to them.
Oh, I know.
You know? As opposed to, you know, and it may douse the ghost peppers a little bit, but ghost peppers are pretty darn hot. Right. Even when you tone them down just a tad, they're still hot enough for me. Yeah. But it makes my you know, some of those, what are considered hot peppers, like a Mad Hatter pepper. Now, to me, that's the sweetest pepper I've ever eaten in my life.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Now, I've had a couple people that don't like spice at all, and they get close to the seed, you know, and you get up by the seeds, and it's like, oh, now I'm getting some heat on that, which, again, it's like a 200 on the Schofield unit as opposed to my, you know, million on my... So, to me, it's still not enough heat to even say, oh, yeah, there's some heat there. Yeah. So, to me, I don't mind putting one of my Mad Hatter peppers close to my ghost peppers or my habaneros or whatever, you know, if I have, you know, reapers or scorpions growing and whatever. I just right now want to kick with ghost peppers. They've been my favorite the last 2 years. Right. I was always a habanero fan. Everything I had, cayenne, love the flavor of cayenne. They're just not hot enough anymore. So again, another one, perfect example. I have a cayenne pepper plant right next door to my ghost pepper plant. Yeah. So that way, that cayenne, I'm going to get that flavor of the cayenne, but I'm going to get the heat. Right. A lot more heat on it, which is more of what I want. Again, it's all being done naturally. Yeah. I'm not, you know, witch doctoring it somewhere. And, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. You start genetically modifying insects now. It's like, holy crap.
Me and my wife, we've gotten to the point we really only eat apples in the fall. Because
you mean when they actually
or right when they're actually ready to eat. But I mean, I proposed to her at an apple orchard, So we always go back every year just to visit it. But that's literally the only time we ever get apples. It's a small orchard. They don't mass produce anything. It's everything they have is just for the local area, and the apples taste better. Again, they're not that super shiny red that you see at a grocery store.
Right.
They're kind of a dull looking apple. But that's because they don't use all the chemicals and crap on all their trees.
Yeah.
And it tastes so much better.
Let me ask you this. You're talking about with your allergies being so crazy. Have you ever tried using local honey?
I was, when my allergies first started, because we have a honey farm right here in the area. Well, it's actually a big honey farm now, the Hunter's Honey Farm.
Right.
At one of the fall festivals they do here in town, they had a stand, and one of the person asked me if I had allergies, because the way I was talking, they could hear the nasally sound. And they gave me a bottle of bee pollen from one of their hives that's strictly just local, because sometimes they'll take them out to California. A lot of the bee farms will do that, but certain hives they specifically keep here. And it seemed like it did work for a while using the bee pollen, and then I never got back out there to get any more and stopped doing it.
Because I was going to recommend that. It's, even if you're using the honey, if you just use a little bit of honey, I don't know what you usually put in your coffee in the morning or whatever, but if you could just
bunch
use
of genetically modified creamer. Because I like it.
They milk a metal cow to get me my creamer.
Oh gosh, YouTube's gonna kick us off.
But I was going to suggest that. Oddly enough, we had a beehive here on our property.
I know.
For years. For quite a few years. The tree it was in, obviously, if you can fit a 7-foot beehive inside of a massive ass tree, there's a good chance it's hollow to be that big. The tree came down in one of the bad storms. The tree is still down, been down now for probably 3 to 4 weeks, probably.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
At least. So, actually, it's almost a month. It came down on the 7th.
I was going to say, you were out of town when I
was out of town, so that's why, and I know I was out of town on the 7th of last month. So, yeah, it's been down for almost a month because it had all those bees in it. A local person that had some bees already came out and got them all and all that, and that's what he made the comment. He said, "Now, do you want me to leave you a box here to keep bees? I'm highly allergic to bees,
right?
But I still want them around.
Yes, for your gardening."
I was over there with him when he was getting those bees, and I did get stung by the bee, and I had a lot of issues for about a week and a half, 2 weeks after that. So I told him, no, I don't really want a box hive. I said, now if I don't have to do anything with it, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I said, if you just want to leave one here, and then you come back
and
get it if you want to come back to get the honey out of it, whatever. But he told me he was going to bring me some honey, and that's what I was going to say.
Nice.
Because that's from right here.
Right, yeah.
Off of, well, not right here, but at our home, but
be within 5 miles of my house.
So it's
pretty local.
It's as local as it's going to get right there. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping for on that.
Nice.
Honey's one of those things. It never goes bad.
No.
It'll last forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
They found a jar in Egypt, I think 5 years ago, and
that's not that old.
It was completely sealed. I think they estimated it to be about 3,000 to 5,000 years old.
Wow.
And they scraped the top off because honey always has the natural. It seals itself.
Right.
So they were able to scrape that top off, and the honey was still perfect. There was no bacteria in it. Nothing. It was fresh honey.
Isn't that crazy? So yeah, I mean, we knew that the bees were in that tree. Mm-hmm. They didn't bother me. They were up high enough in the tree, the hive, the openings in the tree.
Yeah.
So I could cut grass underneath there and all that. They didn't care about my lawnmower. It's like, again, we have blackberries, we have raspberries.
Right.
We got a lot of blackberries.
A lot of blackberries.
Now we have grapes and stuff like that. So I loved having all those honeybees, because they work perfect on those little flowers. Now there's other bigger flowers that we have, and bigger stuff that you're growing. You need the honeybees aren't going to do a bit of good. You need those big carpenter bees. I know everybody hates them because they tear up all the wood. But there's certain plants, unless you get a big carpenter bee on there that shakes that thing around, or the hummingbirds that shake that around, it won't pollinate properly.
Yeah.
So I mean, honeybees are good, but we still need all the other ones too.
Right. Everybody focuses on the honeybee, which is good that we're trying to protect them and figure out what's going on. But in Indiana alone, I think there's like 38 to 40 species of bees that are just in Indiana. Like, there's more than just one bee, and you need all of them.
And everybody focuses on the honeybee.
Yeah.
You know, right now the honeybee population is actually overpopulated.
Oh, is it?
It actually is, yes. If you start talking to some of these like hunters bee farms, you start talking to those people, and there's been so many people that have started their own beehives now. They all do honeybees.
Yeah.
Everybody does honeybees. Well, now we actually have a plethora of honeybees. All the other ones are now the ones that we don't have.
Right.
And that's like you said, it takes a lot more than just one species of bee. Now again, myself, I am allergic to them. Wasps don't do good for me, so I try to keep the wasps away. They're great for your garden, but they're not good for me at all.
Oh, it went out.
It went out. Yeah, I've been chit-chatting a little bit.
How's it been so far?
It's actually doing really good.
It's burnt pretty even.
It has. There's a little bit of a run right here. Again, I'm touching it up. I don't have to. This would have cleared up on its own.
Yeah. I said mine is burned very even. And again, all of my non-infused cigars are just in a jar humidor. They're not in a real humidor.
Right.
So you say what you will about jar humidors. They obviously do pretty good.
Well, again, we can't even say they're not real because they're all making them now.
Yeah.
They just make them. I've always used glass.
Yeah.
They use acrylic. I think glass is better, personally.
It's the only 100% renewable source on this planet. And yet we still make plastic bottles, which is only 3% recyclable.
And a lot of people, when you got a recycling place, don't take glass.
No.
I've never understood that. How is this the only 100% renewable thing we're using?
Right.
First of all, why isn't everything
right.
But I always thought that was so weird, man. You go somewhere, well, no, we don't take glass, just plastic and aluminum.
Yeah. I would assume because they probably get more money somewhere. I don't know any of this. Just I'm assuming that at some point they're getting kickbacks somewhere because of the products that they're sending in.
That'd be my.
That's the only thing that it could be.
Because it has to be. There has to be a reason. I was always quick to, well, that's just so stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Now it's like, all right, let me just see what the reason is. Like you said, there was a reason why they were modifying things, and again, you have, we are in America. We have the land of plenty, right? So we got this crap everywhere. You go to another country where they're having a hard time getting crops, and all of a sudden they have one bad year where all of a, you get a storm come in and wipe out at your field. Now all of a sudden, what are you going to do? Whatever. And I understand the thought behind it. I don't quickly dismiss everything. It's like, okay, I get it. I understand there is a purpose for doing it, and you want to be able to feed more people.
Right.
And then you start researching it a little bit more. Not sure what that was.
I don't know.
But something just crashed into our door. Scared me to death.
There's no storms. I almost dropped my cigar.
So maybe we should stop talking about this stuff and let's go back to the cigars. My cigar is actually very enjoyable.
I am very surprised with this. I really like the Diesel Whiskey Rose. It's been really, you could tell exactly where my fingers were though. It's getting a little mushy at the bottom end. But it's really not even hot. At this point, normally with a cigar, it would be like, I'm done. Right. I can't smoke anymore. This is too hot. And this one is not.
There was a weed eater
Oh.
I had a weed eater and a leaf blower.
Outside the door.
I just finished doing some work around this outside around this area. I bet you that's what that was.
Yeah.
I bet it collapsed onto the floor.
That's funny.
Yeah, this cigar here is burning very slow. Now I'm talking a lot, so obviously it's going to take a while. Like I said, now even this one, it's got a little bit of a uneven.
Tiny, yeah.
And I've noticed it's had a couple of those now and then, but they've all corrected themselves. I haven't had to correct them. I did the one just a second ago because I had to relight it, so I just went ahead and corrected it then. But but even this, the band still slides super easy, so it's not getting too mushy down there.
Right.
It's not changing. It's not hot at all. Yeah, this Ashton's really good. Yeah. This is the first one I've had of the Maduro.
Oh, okay.
I don't normally do that because we're talking about different things, but so I don't normally do it. I just as I'm looking through this, I'm looking through and I got to see different ones because I almost went with the knuckle sandwich.
Yeah.
The Guy Fieri's and Eric Espinosa. I almost went with that one, and then I saw the Ashton. I was like, you know what? I've been eyeballing that Ashton for a while. It's been in the humidor for, probably a good 3-4 months. And I thought, you know what? Today's the day, and it was good.
The completely different side note here. We got Badass Beard Care, which is American made and all that. And I was like, the other day I was thinking, like, you would think there has to be an all-American cigar that's made in America, that's grown in America, stuff like that. And I was looking, and there's at least one major manufacturer. There might be smaller ones that I don't know about. But it's one of the oldest cigar manufacturers, not just in America, but in most of the world, in Tampa.
I was just about to say, I think, because I was going to say Miami, but you're right, it is down in Tampa.
It's in Tampa, and I forget what the name was, but I think we might have to take this podcast on the road and go take a trip down there and talk to them, since we like to promote American-made products.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
It would be.
Tampa's not a bad place.
No. I
don't mind Florida.
I got family near Tampa.
Yeah, I don't mind Tampa at all. I like, I'm one of those people. I like both sides. I like the, some people just like the Atlantic side. Some people just like the Gulf side. I kind of like it all. You know what I mean? There's to me, time and place. There's a purpose. If you're going to be on the Atlantic, it's going to be a little dirtier water. The beaches are kind of more brown than they are white sand. But you get waves. And if you like to surf, if you like to do that kind of stuff, whether it's, boogie boarding, whether it's surfing, whether it's body surfing, whatever. If you like to play that way, obviously the East Coast is better.
Right.
If you go in Florida. I'm not talking about East Coast versus West Coast or any of that. We're not going to get into any of those kind of.
Surfing is definitely better, and
surfing is much better on the West Coast. But if you're down here in Florida and you got the East Coast with the Atlantic Ocean or the West Coast with the Gulf, to me it was always the Gulf was nice because if you had kids, you didn't have to worry about the big giant waves.
Right.
Usually.
Yeah.
Now on occasion, it's you get some pretty good waves. It's kind of like when I was growing up on Long Island. You got obviously it's an island, so you got the North Shore, which is the Long Island Sound. No waves.
Right.
It's a sound, so you're not going to get a whole lot of crashing waves. That's where my mom and dad would take us kids. Yeah. Because it's just safer for the kids.
Yep.
And then you go to the south side of the island. Now you got the Atlantic Ocean. Now it's whether you've ever been up to the northeast versus the southeast, huge difference in that ocean. Huge difference. You go up north, man, that undertow, the undertow is so strong it'll suck you right out. You go down. I spent a lot of time in Savannah. You still feel the undertow, and when you have storms coming by or whatever, you'll get some pretty badass waves there, and you'll get some good strong undertow. But for the most part, much easier to handle. Yes. As opposed to the Northeast, where you get out there and all of a sudden it's hard getting back in because it's literally sucking you out into the ocean.
I think that's because the continental shelf is closer to the shore up in the Northeast.
Oh yeah.
So you've got deeper water, so the waves are a bit stronger. Whereas when you get down to Georgia and Florida, that continental shelf stays shallow for so far out because all that down there
That makes sense.
rose up.
That makes sense.
Because like you said, because you live down there, basically from Macon south is just sand.
Exactly.
Because all of that rose up out of the ocean at some point.
If you go down to Georgia, you have Columbus, which is right on the Alabama border. Then you got Macon, which is center of the state. And then you have, it's either Augusta or, I think Augusta.
Yeah, that's on the South Carolina border.
Right. And so you kind of have a natural, if you drew a line from there, when you go south, because I lived in Atlanta most of my time. Atlanta is red clay. Everything is red clay.
Like all the country songs, the Georgia clay.
it is a hard red clay. And then I moved to Perry, Georgia, which is about 30 miles south of Macon, Georgia.
Okay.
If you dig in your yard down there, it's all sand. Seashells, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Even your blacktop and stuff. Instead of having rock in it, it has shells in it.
I remember when I was younger, because a lot of it's a little different now. When I was younger, I remember when we would travel down there, you would actually see the seashells in the road.
Yes.
It was like, this is weird.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, there was a time where that, and if you took Georgia history, which I took for like 4 years because I wouldn't pass it the first time around. I know my Georgia history pretty good. I took it for 4 years in high school. And I was a senior taking Georgia history still. But yeah, it's at one point in time that was the coast,
right?
And now obviously it goes all the way down. You got Florida and stuff. That's why when people talk about the climate change, it's like, this shit's been changing since the beginning of time, right? It's now. Are we doing things now that are increasing it or whatever?
More than likely, yes.
We need to talk about that, of course. But, I've listened to a lot of scientists and stuff talking about it. And I said, there's very little of this we can actually change.
Right.
But we've had climate change. And I've always brought that up. It's like, well, shoot, Georgia used to be on the... It was the end of the United States at one point in time, and then all of a sudden the rest of Georgia came up, all of Florida came up. It's like, so obviously there was a massive change there.
Right.
I know the coastline still looks the same now as it did 60 years ago when I was born. It hasn't changed much at all since I've been born. I always laugh about it, only because, not that I laugh about it, because obviously there's some climate change that we can control and we need to control. Yeah. But I always, when I was growing up, and I'm talking about in the 60s and in the 70s, everything we heard, like right now, all you hear is global warming. All the ice is melted, all the oceans are rising. It's like, okay, but they haven't yet, so what's going on? Because they haven't rose yet. Yeah. But when I was growing up, it was just the opposite. We're going into another ice age. We have to change, or we're going into another ice age. Right. Apparently we changed a lot. And so my joke is always, I was like, hey, I have yet to see a woolly mammoth run through my front yard. So until I see a woolly mammoth run through my front yard, I can't jump all the way on board with the whole global warming
That's
thing.
Funny.
But, again, dear Lord, if we don't get kicked off of YouTube after this episode...
This might become a Spotify only show.
Bad enough we're smoking cigars on here and drinking alcohol. Lord knows. Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
So what else is going on in life, Wes?
Not a whole lot, just working. A lot of work.
Have you ever had pleurisy?
No. I hope I never do.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know why I've had it. I'm a pretty healthy person. I really am. I'm in my 60s now. I do take a blood pressure medicine, but that's simply because I don't eat properly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Even though we just talked about you growing all your own
growing
food.
my own food now. I do. Oh, I'm doing much better now than I used to.
Yeah.
Much better now than I used to. But again, you look at blood pressure medicine. What does it tell you to do? There are certain foods you shouldn't eat.
Right.
Such as grapefruit, celery. These are foods that you shouldn't take if you're on blood pressure medicine.
Right.
Because these things naturally lower your blood pressure.
Yes.
So it's like, so I can't eat this. All right. And then I find out, oh, because that all is going to do exactly what my medication is doing.
Yep.
So I could just do that and not have to take the medication, right? I just don't like celery and I don't like grapefruit, so I take the pill.
I don't like grapefruit. I can eat celery on occasion. I really like it if you fill it with peanut butter.
My doctor told me that forever.
Yeah.
3 sticks of celery. Because my blood pressure's not super out of control.
Yeah.
And she used to tell me that all the time. She's like, Scott, all you have to do is eat 3 sticks of celery every day.
Yeah.
Just 3 sticks. 3 sticks of celery. She goes, can't you put peanut butter on there and eat it that way? She goes, that's all you got to do. Your blood pressure would be fine if you just ate 3 sticks. I was like, or I could take the 1 pill every day and I don't have to eat the celery. And she was like, well, yeah. So hook me up with that pill.
Jeez.
Now I'm in the process. That is my next goal.
Yeah.
I'm off of every other medication. I don't take any medication other than, and I never have a whole lot. I got into that about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
15, 20 years ago. And it was that whole cycle. You really need to take a cholesterol medicine.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, now because I'm taking that, I have to take this medication to deal with those side effects.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now I got to take, I was like, I'm done. Got rid of all that stuff, And again, I'm not recommending everybody to do that.
Right.
For me, that's what I did. I quit everything, and then my doctor said, you're not leaving my office until you take one of your blood pressure medicines and you stay with your blood pressure. She goes, I don't care about the other stuff.
Yeah.
And she gave me all the stuff. This is what you need to eat. If you want, your cholesterol to be under control, this and that, your blood sugar, all that, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
I still drink my soda. This is probably my Achilles heel right here. This is my downfall. I can't quit. I know people are saying, well, you're smoking a damn cigar too. Yeah, you don't inhale cigars.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not inhaling this. I am breathing it into my mouth and I'm blowing it out.
Right.
It's never going inside my lungs, never doing any of that. That's what I was going to say about the pleurisy.
Yeah.
Pleurisy is when that lining between your lung and your chest, it like perforates in it. And so then when you take a breath, it's like doing this, which is like sandpaper.
Dang.
Dude, I'm telling you right now. Now, I did not smoke any cigars when I had this.
Yeah.
Mainly because I couldn't do this.
Right.
Without crying. You can't do this. You can't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I know at one point it's like, why don't you just go to med first? Well, I got an appointment with my doctor, but the way doctors are nowadays, it was like, it started on a weekend. I couldn't get to my doctor until that Thursday, next Thursday. But it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I couldn't drive my car. I couldn't drive a vehicle. There's no way I could go anywhere because I couldn't get my hands up high enough to be able to drive. It's miserable, and for whatever reason, even though I am a healthy person for the most part.
I say you've had it a few times.
Multiple times. I'd say this was probably the 5th time I've had it. And it's just miserable. And it was one of those things where on Sunday I was like, well, I was sitting wrong or I did something wrong. I'm just a little sore right here. And then next thing I know, it just kept on and kept on and kept on until by Sunday evening, it was like my whole right side. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move anything. And then it just kind of, for me, it has a tendency to walk. And normally it won't for most people. Mine ended up going over to the other side, and it's miserable. Now again, doctors will still have you do an EKG. They're still going to have you do a chest x-ray. They're still going to have you do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just to make sure there's nothing else. Because pleurisy can come about if you get around somebody that's got the flu, you can get it. If you're around somebody with pneumonia, you can get it. If you're around, so there's virus, there's bacterial. Mm-hmm. Arthritis is something I have always had to deal with. I don't know that I have rheumatoid arthritis, but I do know that is one of the causes for pleurisy. Sometimes you can get it from a hard cough or a hard sneeze will do it.
Yeah.
So, there's just so many ways you can get it. And that's the thing. Pleurisy, you can take they're going to give you a shot, anti-inflammatory and all that to try to, and it helps.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is, all right, so what caused it? You know what I mean? Why did I get it? That's what they say. Pleurisy itself is not contagious.
Huh.
But if you got it from having the flu or had it from pneumonia, you know, all that stuff is contagious.
Yeah.
It's a mess, though. I hope you never get it because it hurts. It's a very painful thing. I mean, I'm still not 100% yet.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. And it's been, gosh, 2 weeks.
Jeez. That's crazy.
My cigar does not want to stay lit now.
Yeah, that could just be because of how humid it is.
It is extremely humid in here. Again, tightwad. I don't have the air conditioner on. I just got a fan. Got a cross breeze going in here. And it is pretty warm.
I know, I can't wait. I'm getting a new AC tomorrow and see what difference it makes. Because our AC, the last few years, I could tell anytime it started getting really humid, get above 80, it's like, okay, it's really not keeping up anymore.
Yeah.
And then this year, and it really hasn't even been that hot so far this year.
Right.
We've had a few pretty warm days.
We had a week where all of a sudden it's like, oh,
it's
dear
summer.
Lord, we're almost at 90 degrees now. Yeah. And then
So-
it dropped back to the 70s.
Right. So it was like, yeah, for a week it was pretty bad, and then went back to the 70s. Like, okay, well, we can open the windows, it's all that. And then now the last couple days, it's crept back up there again. And it's like, yeah, something's not right.
Right.
So, yep, they're coming tomorrow, putting in a new AC and all that. So, it'd be nice to not hear a fan running nonstop.
Well, I do know I have an issue with my central air, and I use some window units, and it keeps my house in a pretty good shape. At least keeps the humidity out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do know I got Roy Rogers Heating and Air
Right.
out of Indianapolis. They are going to come down. They're getting ready to do something with my air conditioner too.
Nice.
So. And Roy Rogers, the owner of Roy Rogers, he is an avid motorcyclist. In fact, we were at the Miracle Ride
Yep.
for Riley's Children's Hospital out of Indianapolis last weekend. You know, he was there supporting the kids and donating money and all that kind of stuff. So I love being able to, you know, if you're going to spend the money, that's what I say all the time. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, because let's face it, AC, heat, I mean, all that stuff, it's expensive.
Cheap. Yeah.
And with all the rules and regulations we have on it now,
Right.
with the Freon, and now there's, you know, 5 different types of Freon that you use, all
Yeah.
that stuff, you know, and you got to calculate, you got to keep a pretty good logbook on all that stuff, as opposed to 25, 30 years ago when, yeah, this thing doesn't work, you just open it up and just patch everything out into the air. You know, those are the things that we stopped doing.
Right.
That's what I was talking about with the whole climate change.
Yeah. Stuff we can control.
There are things we can control to make
Yes.
sure we're not adding to the problem.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that stuff's expensive, and it's like, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'd rather spend it with a company that's good, got a great reputation. They use Train,
Right.
so I mean, that's some of the best equipment you
Oh,
can
yeah.
possibly have. And I know they're putting money back into the motorcycle community, the areas where a lot of motorcyclists are charitable.
Yeah.
They're out there helping all that. So it's like, shoot, if I'm going to have to spend the money, I don't want to ever spend the money, but if I have to, again, when you're a tightwad and a cheapskate, you make sure wherever you're spending it, it's in a good place. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it'll be nice when I have a central air again. That'd be kind of nice. Be like the rich people, like you guys.
I haven't had air because I haven't had Freon for 2 years.
Well, I do know the next podcast we're going to be talking with. Can we say who we're going to be talking with, who our special guest will be, or do we need to leave that?
Yeah, we can say who it is.
Should we? Or should we let people guess?
I guess you guys will just have to check in 2 weeks for the next podcast.
We will have
special guest.
We'll have a special guest with us that does a lot of motorcycling.
Yes.
A lot of motorcycle stuff.
If you do anything motorcycle in Indiana, you will know our next guest.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
So, look at that. And I can still take this label
That's
right
pretty
off
good.
of there. To me, that's always a good sign of a good cigar. You know, when
they had those on so tight I couldn't take them off from the get-go.
And that's how a lot of them are.
Yeah.
A lot of them are that way. But I've noticed some of these. See, now I can tell now that I'm down into the bottom of this, the heat, not the temperature heat.
Yeah.
The
Spiciness.
The spiciness, there's a lot more spiciness. I don't get that dark chocolate so much like I was getting that first 2/3.
Yeah.
But this part of this cigar here, it's like that dark chocolate has kind of come off, but it is more of a nutty kind of.
Yeah.
It's like instead of it being like a dark chocolate, it's more of like a cocoa almost, if that makes any sense. Because that has, to me, it has almost even a more bitter taste.
Yeah.
It's still good though. It's blended very well. It's still burning really good. So I'll definitely buy another one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I got a 5-pack of those because the Diesel Whiskey Row, I like that one. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, very good cigar. And fairly affordable too.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't break the bank. I can, now again, $10 is kind of my range.
Right.
I don't like to spend much more than $10. $11.99, $12.99. I'll do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember I bought Padrones one time, one of their anniversary ones. I don't know. Now this was back years ago. They were $25 then.
Yeah.
I think those same cigars now are like $35, $40 now. But even at 25, it was like, and it was for a Christmas Eve. Me and two of my buddies, and I was like, normally we'll do a little gift exchange or whatever, and we always bring cigars or whatever. So I brought the cigars. I said, "This is your gift." There were no other gifts.
Yeah.
Okay, the cigars are expensive, and for me, $25 for a cigar was just ridiculous.
Right.
And in all honesty, I don't know that they were worth $25. I know they're certainly not worth $35 or $40 like they are now. But it was okay. I mean, it's Padron. They're never going to be bad.
Yeah.
Whether it was worth all that extra money, I don't know. I could have bought a $10 Padron. I think I would have been just as happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I can buy one, even 10 to say 14 or whatever, every now and then I'll find those $17, $18 cigars, and I'll go ahead and buy them. I think this Ashton, you can find it in the brick and mortar Toro size. You can probably find it. It's probably going to be that. It's probably going to be that $17.99 to $21, $22, somewhere in that range. To me, that's an expensive cigar. That's one where and that's why I haven't smoked it. It's like you look at it, it's like it looks good in there. Because anybody that knows cigars, they're gonna look in there and go, "Ooh, Ashton Maduro, nice." You know what I mean? It's like you just can't hardly ever go wrong with an Ashton.
Right.
So
let me see here.
I'm about done with my drink.
June 16th.
So
yeah. For all you fathers out there, happy Father's Day. Because this will be airing right before Father's Day. So June 16th is Father's Day.
June 16th is Father's Day.
Woo! So happy Father's Day.
Oh, dude, happy Father's Day. I'm going to be getting new cigars, I can promise you that.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I ever ask for anymore.
Yeah.
I'm pretty easy to shop for now. I got a son-in-law, and his mom made a comment one time for his birthday. He's just so hard to shop for. I'm like, how is he hard to shop for? Now again, it's my son-in-law. He's damn near 40 years old. It's like, you're his mom. How do you say it's hard to shop for him? She goes, you think it's easy? I said, my God, I can go to the liquor store and buy a case of Miller Lite and put it right there in front of him and say, ta-da.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to buy him that. He wants that more than anything. It's like, I'm thrilled. Somebody brings me a case of Miller Lite or a case of Mick Ultras or something. Shoot, I'm thrilled with something like that.
Right.
It's like, nah, he's pretty easy to shop for.
That's funny.
Now I'm kind of that way. It's like, shoot, just buy me a cigar. And I like all different cigars. That's the thing I love about cigars. Cigarette smokers, they have their brand. They don't deviate from it.
Yep.
You know, even a lot of your beer drinkers.
Yeah.
I have a few different beers that I drink, but I always have Miller Lite, mainly because of the son-in-law. And Mich Ultra. Mich Ultra is always my go-to. And then I generally will buy, I don't know, I think right now I've got in the refrigerator, I think there's some of the Quaffon Strawberry Blonde, a 6-foot Strawberry Blonde. I think there's some of that in there. I mean, I always try to keep something extra.
Right.
Schnocktoberfest, when Oktoberfest is going on, you know, I will buy some of the German beers and stuff like that. And I like them on occasion.
On occasion.
On occasion. I'll drink one.
Yeah.
When we do our big Schnocktoberfest, I'll drink 2 or 3.
Yeah.
After that third one, I am DUN done on the heavy beer. I am definitely going back to my Mich Ultra.
Right.
And that's where I'm sticking with. You know what I mean? I just, but cigars, I have a tendency to jump all over the place. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the last one we did was the Monte Cristo Yellow Classic.
Yeah.
Dominican Puro, smooth and I wouldn't say creamy. I don't think they're creamy, but they're smooth and just a light, smooth cigar. Right. This one here has got a lot more flavor going on, a lot more stuff, and I wouldn't say it's better.
No.
That's the thing. I can't say that this is a better cigar than the Monte Cristo. It's a totally different cigar. Yeah. It brings a whole different flavor palette. It brings everything different. Mm-hmm. So yeah, anybody wants to buy me cigars, I'm not picky. The only thing I do stay away from is the infused. Yeah. The sweet cigars, after a while, I can only smoke so much, and it's like, okay, I can't do any more of that.
I'm sure at some point that'll fade for me, but...
Maybe, you know, most people with wine drinkers. Yeah. A lot of people, when they start drinking wine, you drink the very sweet, fruity style kind of wines, and then eventually you see these people end up eating those dry, you know.
I can't do it.
If I drink wine, because I don't drink a lot, wine. I like a sweet. I like a semi-sweet. It's kind of me. I did graduate more semi-sweet, but you know, you get a good dry red. Dude, I ain't the one. No, I ain't the one. I'll drink a port now. Port, you know, where it's got that brandy. Right. Oh my goodness, that I'll drink all night. Well, you can't drink it all night long. A few glasses of that, you're pretty much done. Yeah. Well, we got a lot of nothing accomplished. I think we solved a lot of the world's problems.
We did. I think we're going to get some new fans on this podcast.
We definitely solved a lot of the world problems.
Just write us in on the ballot in November.
Yeah, and I will say this. Not one time have I said climate change is a hoax.
Right, yeah.
Climate change is real. And it's been changing since the beginning of time. Yes. I can also look and see we have more active volcanoes right now than ever.
Yeah, any point in history.
Of modern history where they were keeping a track on that kind of stuff. We have so many... And I can remember when Mount St. Helens erupted.
Yeah, that was a huge deal.
Huge deal. For two years. 2 years that went around the globe. Yeah. Right? And you know, I remember them saying then, it literally shifted the world a little bit on its axis. It was such a violent eruption. Yeah. And it spewed all that into the atmosphere. You know, we talk about, you know, we're trying to go electric on everything now, right? You know, you're going to get rid of all these combustion. That one eruption was worse than the last 50 years of our emissions out of our cars. That was just from one eruption. Yeah. And now you've got all these volcanoes that are constantly spewing it out and everything else. I mean, again, we don't disperse our Freon into the atmosphere anymore because that's not good. You know what I mean? But we can't stop volcanoes. We can't stop the earthquakes. We can't stop that kind of stuff. There's nothing we can do about that. No. That's part of natural climate change. Mm-hmm. So we're not, at one time am I ever saying there is no such thing as climate change. Right. Not at all. That's my disclaimer. Yeah. You got anything else going on before I go get me another refill?
I don't think so. Just keep checking out the podcast and share with your friends. I think it's doing pretty good. We have a lot of fun doing it.
A lot of fun if you just enjoy listening to two people talking about cigars when we're doing it.
Right.
Other times we have special guests. I know I am working on getting Tab Benoit because he is a motorcycle rider. That's just a little more difficult to do.
Yeah.
But we do have the next podcast is going to be very heavily all about motorcycles, pretty much. And we've got a few other ones because I would like to bring in a few musicians. I'm going to try with Anthony Rosano and the Conquerors. I know everybody in that band rides, you know what I mean? And I want to sit down and talk with them guys. Again, they're on the road touring. It's very hard to make schedules connect. But we'll see what we can do. Keep the podcast going. I've really enjoyed it. And thank you, Wes, very much. Thank you for sitting down and smoking a cigar with me. And
yeah, no problem. Always a pleasure.
All right, man. Well, what do you say? We just go get a couple more cold drinks and maybe put a window unit air conditioner in and cool this place down.
Right. Guys, check out Badass Beard Care, badassbeardcare.com. They also have a Facebook page. You can go there too. Make sure you check them out. American made, veteran owned. Great company, great products. Check them out. Yep.
And I'm just going to big shout out Ladendorf, Fregiato, and Bigler, personal injury lawyers here in Indianapolis. They've been sponsoring our Steel Horse Thunder show for about 20 years now. Trial attorneys, they go to bat for you. They don't just settle out of court.
Right.
We've got Krambo's, motorcycle, custom paint, mechanics, and accessories and all that, and Roy Rogers Heating and Air. And so just a quick shout out to all them guys making all this stuff possible.
Yep.
But yes, if you've got a beard, you definitely want Badass Beard Care. Only because it's fun to say. It's Badass Beard Care.
Right.
All right, man. I'm ready to let that sit for a minute and go get a cold drink.
All right.
All right. We'll see you.
See ya.